In this session, we are going to discuss about the parallel lines and the perpendicular lines. So suppose you've got a line L1 and its slope is M1, and suppose there's another line L2 and its slope is M2. Now, if the lines are parallel, suppose L1 is parallel to L2, this is a symbol for uh, the lines to be parallel. If the line L1 is parallel to L2, then their slopes must be equal. That is, if the slopes are equal, then the lines are parallel. That is, if the lines are parallel, then the slopes are equal. So if L1 is parallel to L2, then M1, the slope of the line first, must be equal to the slope of the line second. So if we are asked to prove or verify that whether the two lines are parallel or not, then we will be finding the slopes of both lines, and then we will be showing that the slopes are equal. If the slopes are equal, then it will be proven that the lines are parallel. So if the lines are parallel, then the slopes are equal, and if the slopes are equal, then the lines are parallel. So this is the condition for lines to be parallel. That is, their slopes must be equal. That is, M1 must be equal to M2. Now, what about the perpendicular lines? So if you have got two lines, L1 and L2, and suppose the slope of L1 line is M1 and the slope of L2 line is M2, and we are asked to verify that whether these lines are perpendicular or not. So first we will be finding the slope of the line L1, and that is M1, and then we will be finding the slope of the line L2, and that will be denoted by M2. And after that we will be multiplying these slopes. That is M1, the slope of the line L1, multiplied by M2, that is the slope of the line L2. And if you get an answer of -1, then it means that the line L1 and L2 are perpendicular to each other. So this is the condition for two lines to be perpendicular. I repeat it once again, that if you are given with line L1 and its slope is M1, and if you are given with line L2 and its slope is M2, and you are asked to find out that whether these line, that is line L1 and L2, are perpendicular or not, then you need to find out the slope of the line L1 and denote it with M1, and then find out the slope of M2 L2 and denote it by M2, and then you will multiply the slopes of these two lines, and if you get -1 by multiplying M1 and M2, then we say that L1 line is perpendicular. This is the symbol for perpendicular to L2. So if the lines are perpendicular, then this is the product of their slope, then the product of their slope must be equal to -1. If the lines are perpendicular, then their product of slopes will be -1, and if the product of the slope is equal to -1, then the lines will be perpendicular. So this is the important condition for two lines to be perpendicular, where M1 is the slope of L1 and M2 is the slope of L2. So these are, if we combine these two concepts, then if L1 is parallel to L2, then M1 must be equal to M2. And the second concept is that if the lines are perpendicular, that is L1 is perpendicular to L2, then M1 into M2 must be equal to -1.